Hello everyone that's tuning in, I'm Eliamith, and this is my typical video. I'll go into more detail at the end of the video, but the basic summary is that I wanted to create a gaming channel and put my love of stories into it. The result is me playing video games and occasionally creating a video that would analyze a game's story. The most recent game I played at the time of creating this was called Anne. This video will contain spoilers for the game Anne, so please play the game, watch my playthrough, or keep going. Anne is a horror suspense RPG game inspired by the horror RPG game makers of 2012. Majority of the game setting takes place in Delta Academy of Arts, an art school where the protagonist Anne goes to study digital arts. She has already left the school for the day, but she forgot her USB drive. At her desk, she falls asleep and breaks the school's 9 p.m. rule. When she wakes up, the school has completely changed. It has gone from normal to a horror maze. Throughout the rest of the game, Anne faces the missing students in a failed art project to escape the school. A quarter of the way, she gains an ally in the form of a security guard who helps her along the way. The story contains about 5 endings: the game over cutscene, the true ending, the bad ending, and more. For this analysis, we are focusing on the true ending. While playing the game, I struggled immensely with the chase scenes, but I was sucked into the story, which made me keep going. You can see all the love that was put into it. When I finally reached the end, it felt bittersweet. The horror story finished with a hopeful ending, and it gave me a realization about a theme that kept showing up. Hope can come from the most unexpected of places. I've seen this type of theme appear in adventure, fantasy, etc. However, most horror games have themes about morality, mortality, and darker themes. But this game, packaged as a horror, was hopeful. Each character received hope from another character, item, or action. The character Anne is the best example of this, and she shares the most connections with hope by either providing hope or giving hope. Anne is given hope by her art. Throughout the game, the player gets to see flashbacks to Anne's past. As a child, she lived with horrible parents who were neglectful. They valued her and insulted her on a daily basis. She was put into an orphanage and alienated, but she receives hope with her art. She draws and improves her art skills and uses it as a form of escapism. In the orphanage, she continues to create, and it catches the attention of a caretaker. They tell her about art school, and Anne is shown to become hopeful again. She sees a future for herself, and the player gets to see her become a digital art student. A little bit of belief from a caretaker and her love of art gives her hope. As a result, she gives hope to others around her, like Mira and Charles. Mira, Hess, and Charles Worth are trapped in this horror maze as villains, but the player gets to see how they reach this point. Mira was an extraordinary music student, and it made all her fellow students envious of her. One ends up drugging her and leaving her at the school after 9 p.m. Mira is trapped into the maze, and somehow becomes a type of poltergeist that haunts the maze. After about a year, Anne shows up and Mira chases after her. In their confrontation, Anne tells Mira accidentally about her music ending up in the exposition hall, and Anne is chased away. The game cuts back to Mira, where the player gets to see her feeling happiness for the first time in a year, and it continues. Later in the game, Anne and security convince Mira to stop attacking them by telling her how they can appease Hannah. Mira becomes hopeful for her torture to end. This opportunity provides her the chance to see her family and friends again. A hope for normalcy. Her hope allows us to beat the game, but she isn't the only one Anne convinces. Charles Worth throughout the game seems to enjoy chasing us and playing mind games. Also, unlike Hannah, Anne, and Mira, he chooses to stay after 9 p.m. to play dress up. However, the player and Anne get to see the facade fade, and we get to see how unhappy Charles is. In the final confrontation between him, Mira, Anne, and security, he becomes hopeful again, with the idea of appeasing Hannah. He would get the chance to have a normal life again. Now, on to the second largest section of this video. Anne provides hope to Hannah through her actions. Throughout the game, Anne is chased by a mysterious figure that we later learn is named Hannah. She is the cause of the 9 p.m. rule, after an early death caused by the principal, and she wants revenge on him. So, she creates a horror maze. But the principal avoids her traps and ignores her altogether. As a result, the maze traps unsuspecting students who don't know any better. Hannah has lost all hope of getting revenge and is unable to reveal the principal's deeds by herself. She lashes out at everyone around her. Then Anne comes into the picture. Anne, security, and everyone else are able to formulate a plan for the principal to get what he deserves. They give Hannah hope, and they succeed in bringing the principal into the school. Hannah is finally able to get her revenge, and she is able to rest. Also, she is able to help reveal all the principal's crimes to the public. She got everything she hoped for. The revelation of the principal's crimes created hope in other places as well. Clara, Hannah's friend, is given a new hope. She is finally able to find out what happened to her best friend. Also, she gains a newfound hope that she can recover. People will believe her, and she can seek counseling and etc. Also, the art project called Failure and the creator gain hope. Failure's creator seemed to have dropped art as a field of study because a poorly made statue received the exposition hall's place instead of his. The player and Anne get to see the art project getting picked up by their creator. The creator wants to fix his original mistake. He gained new hope in his art. Now, the final but not least hope connection comes from Anne's security. Throughout the game, they both take turns in inspiring hope in each other. During the music department, Anne is on her own until she reaches the midpoint between the music and sculpting departments. The player can see how she is freaked out and has no idea how to go forward. She comes across a paper that results in a security guard appearing, nicknamed Security. He guides Anne to where he believes the exit is. His presence provides security and hope to Anne. He helps her through multiple tight spots, like through the sculpting department. Like, he moves the chess pieces, he protects Anne while she's resting, calms her down after a nightmare. When in the fashion department, he distracts Charles so Anne can get a head start. After Anne passes out, he goes on further to clear obstacles and comes back immediately after hearing her scream. After opening the locker and contacting Hannah, security makes sure to keep getting hope to Anne. That's why it's so heartbreaking to him when Anne starts to run away from him after finding out about his painting. Unknowingly to Anne and the player, we provided hope by allowing him to fulfill his purpose. It's devastating to us and Anne because we lose all hope in him and getting out. However, they confront each other again in front of his painting. Anne and Security regain hope in each other after Security reveals the whole truth. This new fragile hope leads to them teaming up with Mira and Charles to lure the principal in for Hannah, and they succeed. The success leads to the end of the horror maze, but it also means the end of Security. Anne tries to capture their shared moments with a picture, but it fails to save. Anne is forced to leave as the maze falls apart, and they share one last hug. After leaving the school, she loses all memories of what occurred at the school, along with Charles and Mira, but she has changed drastically as a person. She was more happy and hopeful when she started this journey. The player gets a time skip, and we get to see how Anne has grown. The game continues several months later where Anne is attempting to pay something. Due to a series of events, Anne ends up in front of a Security's painting. The picture that failed to download earlier finally shows up correctly, and Anne cries after regaining all her memories and smiles. The game ends on this final note. If you told me in the beginning of this game that I would get attached to all these characters, I wouldn't believe you. But I shocked myself. Each character has interesting characters and conflicts that spoke through the game. The strings of hope connected all of them to each other, with Anne being the center of it majority of the time. A game dressed up in the genre of horror contained an intense theme of hope. A theme of hope came from the most unexpected of places. Now, this might be a bit of an awkward transition, but I want to talk a little bit more about my channel. I'm assuming you like the majority of the video if you reach this point. Let me greet you formally. I'm Eliamith. Nice to meet you all. I created this channel because I always wanted to create a gaming channel ever since I was in high school, after seeing all like the big gaming channels and all that. However, I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do. So I waited till like basically my first year of college is where I kind of set up the beginning of it, because it took a whole pandemic and me actually finishing a year of college to finally figure out exactly what I wanted to do, which made me gain like more skills in certain aspects of what I needed to create this channel. The idea to combine my love of storytelling and my love of gaming. The channel is the reaction of these ideas. I'd play video games and I would choose some of these games to analyze their entire story, segments of story, etc. And I'm glad you stuck around. Please tune in to my next videos. And again, thank you for clicking on my channel and videos. You took a chance on me, and you won't regret it. Thank you for tuning in to the end of the video, and see you guys in the next video.